Hi, everyone. This is David Ruben of Ruben Law Firm. Today I'm going to tell you about huge changes in Maryland law. I've been practicing family law in the state of Maryland since 1991, so in 32 years, there has never been such a drastic change in what we call grounds for divorce in the state of Maryland. And let me tell you something, it's been a long time coming. It went into effect on October 1, 2023, after a lot of hard work from a lot of good people, lawyers, legislatures, other people who have contributed to these laws and making these changes for the Maryland people. In order to have a better understanding of what these new laws mean, I need to explain what a ground for divorce is. A ground for divorce is a way to get yourself into the courthouse and get the relief you want. When people call our office, they're concerned with custody and child support and alimony and property division and attorney's fees and things like that. The way to get to court, you have to initially, unless it's just a custody case, have what's called a ground for divorce. Now, previously, over the last 100 years, it's been very difficult to get to court. People have been told for years, you have to wait 2 years and be separated for 2 years before you get into court. You have to wait, and then we changed it. Then you have to wait 1 year to get into court. And then it has to be a voluntary separation, not an involuntary separation. You have to be able to prove adultery. You have to prove cruelty of treatment, things like that. Without any of those things, people weren't able to get to court at all and get the relief they need. And what was happening is there were so many people in the state of Maryland, and there's, I'm sure, many people watching this video that are like this now, they're kind of stuck in the same home. There's no grounds for divorce. They call a lawyer and they say, I can't stand it anymore. I don't want to be married to this man or woman. Okay, well, what can I do? Well, you have to move out in order to file for divorce. Well, I don't have the means. I don't have the financial means. I don't have anywhere to go. That wouldn't be good for my kids. And he or she won't leave. What can I do? And as family law attorneys, it's been so frustrating forever because we simply have to say to them, well, unless you can prove domestic violence, of course, we don't want you to be able to prove domestic violence, but unless there's domestic violence or you can prove actual adultery, there's really not much that you can do. A lot of people used to think that we had divorce based on separate rooms in the household. You could file for divorce if you lived in a separate bedroom. We've really never had that until now. And so that's kind of a preview as what we have now. So we would talk to these people on a daily basis, mostly women, mostly in these situations where they were being financially controlled by the other spouse. And they had no choice. So we now have a way to get to the courthouse while you're still living in the same house, no questions asked. As of October 1, 2023, the legislature, it's in the family law article, anybody can Google it and read it, we have now 3 grounds for divorce. We don't have a ground for divorce for adultery anymore, and I'll talk about that because it's still relevant whether or not there was adultery. We don't have grounds for divorce for cruelty of treatment. We have 3 grounds for divorce in Maryland, and this is how they go. The first ground is a 6-month separation, but separation can be defined being in separate bedrooms within the same home. Now, in my opinion, and we're going to see how this plays out over the next couple of years, this ground for divorce, although better than it used to be because now it's explicit, it says expressly that you can be separated while in the same home, so you can file for divorce while you're living together, it kind of sets out this 6-month period. I don't think we're going to use that ground for divorce, and this is why. The second ground for divorce, which I think almost everybody's going to use on a regular basis, is what many other states have, and that's called irreconcilable differences. What does irreconcilable differences mean? Well, our statute doesn't define what that means, but it says a person can file for divorce, meaning you can get yourself to the courthouse door and ask for relief if you say in a complaint for absolute divorce that there are irreconcilable differences and you state the reasons why you do not want to be with your spouse anymore. And it does not matter what you say, as far as I can tell, what the law says. So you fill out paperwork and say, I don't want to be with this person because I'm not in love anymore. I don't want to be with this person because we don't get along anymore. I don't want to be with this person because I think it's best for the kids that we not be together anymore. But what it does, it allows the spouse who has nowhere else to go and may not want to go somewhere else to go to the courthouse, file the paperwork, and begin the process of seeking the relief that you need in a divorce case. So 2 people are still living together. They own the house together. One of them doesn't want a divorce. The other one does want a divorce. And again, it may not be for domestic violence purposes. It may not be for any purposes at all. You just simply don't want to be married anymore. And Maryland is now recognizing, and in my opinion, it's about time, if you want to get divorced, you get divorced. The state's not going to compel you to stay together as a couple. So what that allows you to do under irreconcilable differences is go to the court, either call a lawyer and make a consultation with a lawyer and find out your rights and fill out the information that you're looking for, because everything follows from the original grounds for an absolute divorce. You say, hey, I want the kids to be with me and I don't want them to be with my spouse, or I want it to be shared physical custody. I need alimony. I need spousal support. I can't live on my own. Or I recognize that I'm going to pay spousal support, so let's get this ball rolling and move toward it. We have a house. We have pensions. We have property. I want to divide that property. Previously, if you didn't have grounds for divorce, you had no way of going to the courthouse and doing it. And in my experience, and I can tell you this firsthand, literally thousands of couples have stayed together miserable, usually both people, sometimes one person, because they didn't have grounds for divorce. That's all changing. What it does, it allows you to get to that courthouse and begin the process. One of the things I mentioned before was we don't have the ground for divorce of adultery. And people are going to say, well, does that mean it doesn't matter if she cheated on me? The answer is no. Adultery, or cause of the breakup, estrangement of the parties as we call it, that's still relevant to the things that we're asking for when we get to the courthouse, which might be alimony, monetary award. How do we divide the property? We don't have cruelty of treatment as a ground for divorce anymore. That's not fair. It doesn't matter. A ground for divorce is just the way you get yourself to the courthouse and then ask for the things that you want. What is it that we ask for in divorces? If there are minor children, we have to deal with custody, legal custody and physical custody. If there are money issues, we ask for child support or alimony. And if there's property, we ask for how that property is divided. So what this is allowing people to do under the new family law code is, where they couldn't do it before, is file with the court. Now, does that mean I file for divorce based on irreconcilable differences and I get a hearing next month? No, that's not going to change. And a lot of people don't know this, but filing with the court just starts the process. Do we want people to reach agreements before they even come to court? Of course. Are we going to send people to mediation after they get to court so they can reach agreements and not have a judge decide? Of course. But at least this way, if you can agree, it still may take 6 months or a year to get that final court date, but you don't have to wait a year to file and get that year to do that. And it's going to make things so much easier. Are the courts going to be overly crowded as of October 1, 2023? I think so, but it's going to play itself out. The third ground for divorce is something that we already have, and that's mutual consent divorce. And that's where, if people already have a separation agreement and they've resolved all their issues, they don't have to be separated. They can get a divorce quickly. Again, I don't know that we're going to need that ground for divorce anymore because we have irreconcilable differences, but the legislators did not get rid of mutual consent. So we now just have those three grounds. 6 month separation under the same house, under the same roof. Don't think we're going to need it. Irreconcilable differences, we're going to use it all the time. Mutual consent, we may or may not. The point is, people who didn't have access previously to the relief that they can seek from a judge are going to have access now. If you have any questions about this, you can call an attorney such as my office. We'll be happy to give you a free consultation. If you're in a situation where you don't have money at all and you know you can't afford to hire an attorney, or you don't want to hire an attorney, strongly recommended. Not that you watch videos. You can watch my videos. I have a number of videos on my website talking about other marital property issues and alimony issues and things like that. You're welcome to watch those, but don't take them as true legal advice. Talk to a lawyer first. But they also have self-help lawyers at the courthouses where people can go up and they can ask questions for free, and they can help them fill out the paperwork to get this process started. Again, the reason for this video is to let Maryland citizens know that whereas previously they may not have had a way to get to the courthouse and get the relief that they want, and they may have been stuck in a bad relationship, which is not healthy for them or their spouse or their children, they have the ability to do that. And they should do that by either calling an attorney's office and getting a free consultation and moving forward from there, or going to a courthouse where they have self-help people who can help you fill out the paperwork and do this paperwork on your own.